Hey everybody, so I did it. So I uninstalled TradeSkillMaster, and then before I did, I went to my WTF folder under my account. There's a saved variables folder, and so what I did from there is there was a bunch of TSM files out there, and then I also took some screenshots of operations that I want and stuff. But this should contain all the operations that I have, as well as settings and stuff. And so like I can kind of come in here. This was my old setup. This character, what they saw, and I guess there's a lot in here. So how many lines is this? This is like really long. Wow, 412,000 lines. So anyway, there's a lot to it. But if I want to go back and find some operations, I've got it here. But what I plan on doing is creating my own, uh, kind of from scratch. I might refer back to this just for, uh, if I need to look up something specific. But so all I've done so far is create a materials group, which I plan on putting all the War Within items into the top level group, and probably what I'll do with these others, like blue dye. I know that's kind of generic anyway, but coarse thread. I'm just going to throw all these into this top group, and then maybe eventually I'll break it down to classic, outland, and I may change the names of these. I don't know if I like the naming convention I picked, but it's basically kind of what shows up in the crafting window. So anyway, uh, but so what I want to do is create an. So well, first off, I don't. The first thing out of the box, I think what you want to do is go to the settings and tooltips, because just getting a little bit of this information is not what I'm looking for. I don't necessarily want full destroy tooltip. That might be interesting. I might look at that later. Sale rate, we can go ahead and include that. Recent market, and I think I want region market value. Let's take a look at what that's showing us so far. So that's not too bad. So I kind of want to create a. So one thing to keep in mind is there's a regional market average, and just I mean, with materials, it shouldn't really matter, what pops up, because usually it's just whatever it's going for. Usually it's pretty good to post right then. However, you do want to maybe kind of qualify it in case there's somebody that maybe it's not a highly traded item, like this is a Dragonflight gem. That's not going to be really traded a whole lot. Yeah, average daily sold is 1.8. So you don't want to necessarily put it up there for nothing, but in case somebody games the market, maybe they post something really cheap in the hopes of getting somebody to post so that they can buy it really cheap. So, um, wow, that's interesting. Alt realm buyout. I haven't looked at some of this stuff before, so I think what I'm going to do is try to not do any changes necessarily to TSM until I'm ready to make a video on it. So you'll kind of get the first-hand type stuff of what I'm doing. Kind of you can see the thought process and stuff like that. So let's override an auctioning operation, and we're going to create a new operation. So for materials, let's give it a name of like 00. We'll do M for materials, and I may change this later on. So if I do, you'll see the changes later on. So I'm just kind of coming up with a name that I can think of. And I'm doing this kind of on the fly, so you can see my thought process. Let's call this level 1, and then we'll just call it materials. Let's say crafting materials. Is it crafting materials, or is it going to be all kinds of stuff? We'll just call it crafting materials for now. Okay. Posting. I'm going to do 24-hour auctions because I usually only just post once a day. So, and since they're material, I didn't say my crafting materials. Have to hit enter for it to take it. I'm going to stick with 24 hours but if I was actually on in the morning and the evening, I probably would do 12 hours. For now, post cap. Ideally, what I want is like to be able to post multiple of those a day. So, or based on. So, like something like this, the region average daily sold is 272,000. So, I'd rather just. I would like to, maybe in that case, just post everything I have, or post like a quarter of my inventory, things like that. So, let's just do 10 for now. We're just going to make this work out. So, sorry, I usually like to hide people that talk to me and stuff. So, anyway, undercut amount. So this is already in effect, and normally you would see. So it's in materials 11 TWW, the War Within. But the thing is this, it's only showing me, regional values and stuff. So I actually want to go back to the tooltip settings, and I want it to show me the normal, min, and max prices. Where is that? Auctioning, post quantity. Yeah, well, let's do that. Post quantity. Okay, so there, if you can, I'd move my mouse over it, but you can see that like this is 1 gold, 52 silver is the minimum price. 12 gold, 12 silver is the normal price. So if there's none on the market, it'll post it at the normal price. I've seen some people put that as a higher value than your max price. So, the idea, if there's nobody posting that, then you've got the monopoly on the market. So you could kind of ask whatever you want, but you you have to keep it within reason. So, okay, so let's go back to operations. And honestly, this is pretty close already to what I want, but let's see if we can make it a little bit better. So I don't really care about the check, but min, I'm going to do first. Okay, so these are crafting materials. If it's a crafted item, what I want it to do is I want to do like something crazy, like 99.9% of crafting. So if for whatever reason, if it's a crafted item, this should pop up. Since I haven't logged into a lot of my other characters, like Chronocloth Bolt is a crafted item. If it's and it's not in the group yet anyway, but the idea here is if I accidentally put a crafted item in this group, I want it to maybe flag it and say, hey, this is invalid, and the minimum amount is going to be really high, versus the normal and max amount. So TSM's gonna complain about it. So this is fine. DB market, since this is the minimum amount, first, actually, let me back all the way up here. Min. And we're going to do 99.9% crafting, or we're going to do, let's do average, and it doesn't like that. Probably gonna need another minimum of that. There, that fixes that. So, but I want to also do like 10 times vendor sell, because if it's that so if the vendor sell is kind of high, I don't necessarily want to, I want to think about it before I post it. So I might have another operation that goes from this. So, and I'm going to main. We're going to call that main. Okay. So yeah, that's fine. Let's see. We'll see how these numbers work out. And then for this, I'm going to do, I'm just take off the crafting, because we shouldn't be posting crafted items anyway. Let's go like 2 times the average. And we can do like, we can leave the vendor sell on there. And if it's the normal price, 1.5 is fine. Just I like the normal. I like keeping the normal price below my max price, but that's just me. So this should be fine. 1.5. God, that's really low. I don't know if I want to post something like this that low. Why is that so? Okay, so it's doing the min. Okay. So it's doing minimum vendor sell. Okay, I'll shoot. Let's. We're going to fix that. So I don't want to sell it for less than 10 times the vendor sell. So we're going to do a max, and then so the way this reads is it's going to take the minimum amount of this inner part, and then the maximum part of vendor sell, or this minimum amount within here. Okay, well, and actually I need to move my crafting part out of there. Times crafting, because if I want to make it throw an error. Okay, let's take a look here. That's looking a little bit better. Let's bump that up to like 50%. So 0.5. That looks a little bit better. So like right now, I don't really want to post the storm charged leather for 3.3 gold, 32 silver. So I think I want to get it a little bit higher before I start posting lower. And for now, since I'm first starting out, let's just go ahead and bump it up to 75. So we might be able to. We don't want to post stuff cheaply. So we can always lower it later. Especially with materials, they're going to just a lot of times just fly off the shelf anyway. So yeah, like my min buyout here is really low, and like if I check now, it might not even be there. So let's see. So I have a lot of items that don't have an operation yet. Actually, let's make sure that default operation. So yeah, the default operation, see, it's already going to post stuff. So I want to just have it like that. And I'm just going to say it default, no posting. This should not post anything. And I think post cap 0 should do the trick. Yeah, some of these defaults are they kind of get you where you want to go, but let's see if that. Yeah, posting disabled, which is fine. Oh, and I bet I don't have anything set. I don't have my macros set up either. So normally I'll hold down Shift key, and oh, that's working. But I got a TSM error, so I'm going to go ahead and post these, and probably end the video pretty soon. Just because this is pretty boring stuff once you start out, and if you know what you're doing, it should be pretty simple. But Iron Claw. Yeah, see, look, already making some sales. Good deal. Yeah, anyway, I'll probably need to reload. But that's basically it. When I make some more changes, I'll make another video for all this, so you can take a look at that. All right, y'all take care.